36 years of basketball knowledge and life skills. Your host, Coach Goins, focuses on today's topics on and off the court, helping players and coaches achieve their goals. So get ready for another fast break episode of Basketball More Than a Game with your host, Coach Goins.
You know what? So what we're going to be doing, folks, we're going to be coming at you hard and heavy. You know what? We've got got my good friend Talbert on. He is from Haiti, so we send out our best wishes to my good friend Mr. Telford in the great island of Haiti. We send our love to you, brother, and we'll see you soon. So quick, not only are we on in the United States, we're also international, so we do have somebody listening to the show in Haiti, so it's all good. So listen, before we get into that, we want to make sure, again, how do you check us out? Make sure you subscribe. Make sure that you take a chance and follow us, like us, leave a comment. I know Mike is, he's doing some great things. He got some stuff that he's going to be sharing with us today. Check us out on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, my YouTube channel, Coach Lamont Goins, our website, coachgoins.podbean.com, Facebook, and also Lionfish Entertainment out of Los Angeles, California. But listen, quick, you know what? I don't even know if I told you the good news. And somebody said, "What's the good news?" We are now in. Watch this, the Russian Federation. We have 4 folks that have listened and downloaded our show in Russia. So now we're in United Kingdom, New Zealand, Canada, Japan, Australia, Sweden, Netherlands, Germany, Dominican Republic, Finland, Ireland, the Russian Federation, Albania, Kuwait, Tunisia, Vietnam, Ghana, France, United Arab Emirates, Denmark, and we also have my good friend on, Mr. Telford, from the great island of Haiti. So we certainly appreciate him taking time out and jumping on this live broadcast as well as a simultaneous podcast. But listen, I've got probably one of the best young men, or he's a man now, one of the best players I've ever coached. Not from a talent standpoint, but just a great overall human being, a person that loves the game of basketball, and that's Coach Mike Quick. And the first part of the podcast we're going to be talking about is a fast break session, so I'm going to toss it over to Coach Quick, and he's going to go ahead and open it up, and we'll go from there. Coach, you got the mic.
Yes, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, as we approach the NBA Finals on tomorrow night, it's an amazing feat. LeBron James leads another franchise to his 8th straight NBA Finals. Pretty amazing, going up against the Golden State Warriors for the fourth straight year. So lace them up tight and let's get ready to roll and watch a great series.
You know what? And here's the thing. You know, people not understanding that. You know, when LeBron gets out and he's doing this thing, and this is his 8th straight Finals. I don't care if you're in 8 straight, horseshoe championships. I don't care if you're in the 8 straight ping pong championship in your high school PE class. Number one thing, you know what? It's 8 straight times. I see another good friend of mine, and that's Mr. Frank Snurgra from the great city of Stanton, Virginia. One of the hardest working men I know. I got to have him on the show, but a great guy, great human being, and so we certainly appreciate him taking time out and joining and watching the live show plus the podcast. But you know what, Coach? You're exactly right, man. When you break this thing down and you look at LeBron James, day in and day out on the grind, he played 82 games. How many? 82. And and playing such a high level. And I want to add, and Coach, I want to make sure this is right. He's 34 years old, correct?
I believe so, yes, sir.
He's 34 years old. All right, so I tell somebody, okay, you know what? You go find me a 34-year-old person that can play 82 games and can be on the grind and doing the things that LeBron does, all right? And then when he does that, and then everybody wants to get in this whole competition of, who's the greatest of all time. You know what, Coach? Here's my response, Coach, when somebody answers me this. And then I'm going to say this, and I want to come back when somebody says, man, Michael Jordan's the greatest of all. You know what I tell my circle? You know what? If you want to talk basketball, you really want to talk basketball, right? And they said, yeah. I said, do me a favor. That's why I said, pull the stats. Pull the stats on Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And then I kind of always get this look when I bring that name up. I said, if you want to talk about who's the greatest basketball player of all times, pull up Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. How many championships did he win? 6. How many did Jordan win? 6. Who's the all-time leading NBA scorer? It's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. The shot that he had was just amazing. So there's a lot of things that go into what you're doing, how it comes about. And the thing that I don't like about it, Coach, is this. He is being left out of the conversation. And I know it's because, it's a guard and this. So if people want to break it down like that, let's do the greatest of all time as a position. Not just what? Not just as a player on the left, not just a player on the right, or not just a player that's a big man or it's in the post. Call it what it is and say, all right, pull the stats out. Okay? Your opinion, Coach.
Hey, I totally agree with that. I'll say this. I watch Kareem. I watch Mike. I watch LeBron. I'll say MJ was the greatest of his era. I think the greatest player of this era today. I mean, I just really believe that LeBron James is playing at an all-time high level, in my opinion. We want to determine who's the greatest by championships, by the number of rings. And I get that to a certain degree.
Yep.
But how can you negate what this man is doing? I mean, let's just think about what he's done this year alone. LeBron James went through a regular season where he played 82 games. Kevin Love missed 2 months of action. He also missed a pivotal Game 7 the other night in Boston. Kyrie Irving is no longer there. Isaiah Thomas, whom they traded for, missed 2 months of action. Then they blew up the entire roster after the All-Star break.
Yep.
Gave him a whole new cast of characters.
That's right.
And guess what? This young man is back in the finals, leading his team as they attempt to win them a second NBA championship of their franchise history.
You know what, folks, and that's where you heard it from none other than Michael T. Quick. From the great state of North Carolina, one of my former players, and just it's a pleasure to share the mic. Hey, I want to give a shout out to someone that is so special that is on listening right now, and that's Miss Jerry Capel. We send our love, we send just our well wishes. For those of you that don't know, she's the wife of the late Coach Jeff Capel, who was near and dear to me. Again, it's for so many reasons. And my love for basketball was birthed through him, being his manager at an early age. And he asked me one time, I was a freshman in high school. He said, "Man, this is what I want you." I said, "Man, you got to talk to Mama. That's what you got to do." So he said, "I'm going by and seeing nothing." But we want to send our love to Jerry, and just we love you. You know that. We're working hard on the project, folks, behind the scenes, and we're not going public with that at this point. But we want you to know, Jerry, from the folks here at Basketball More Than the Game, you have made a difference in my life, and hopefully what Coach instilled in me, I've been able to instill in Coach Quick, who's one of my former players that I share the mic with at least once a month. We get on the show. So what people do each and every day, and people, and you just don't know when you get out and you have people doing what, when you have people making a difference, and that's what's so important. When you have somebody making a difference, you never know what that's going to yield down the road. So here it is. I've been out of high school. Here it is, almost over 35 years. Mike's been out of school 20 years, and we still had that relationship, and all of that is because what I learned from Coach Jeff Capel. And again, we just wish his family Godspeed, and also Jerry, we just send our love. So, Mike, you're exactly right. When people get out here and they really look at this whole entire game of basketball, what they fail to realize is that it is more than just it's more than just one guy. When these guys, just like, all right, let's talk about the Golden State and the Houston Rockets. If Chris Paul plays Game 6 or 7, Golden State is done.
Correct.
And that's the thing. And somebody says, "Well, how do you guard Kevin Durant?" You know what? Somebody needs to take a look at what Houston did. And I've said this for the last 2 years. When you're playing a big like Kevin Durant, you got to take a smaller guy and put up under him. So what I'm talking about for you non-basketball people is you can't take a big guy and try to guard a 6'11" athletic guy like Kevin Durant. So you take a guard and you put him up underneath him, so when he has trouble trying to put the ball on the deck to go left or right. Now, I'm not going to tell you where I learned that from, but it comes from a very reliable source that will not be mentioned on the air. But that's just my opinion. When you look at, you got to be healthy. Think about LeBron and his age. He plays 82 games. Like Quick just eloquently put it, they blew up the entire roster. They were able to come back, and what did they do? and built this team, rebuilt it. But some of these guys have got to answer the call. Some of these guys are playing with a heavy heart. Cal Corver, he lost one of his younger brothers this year. And he's still playing through that and just working through that. And that's what this show is all about, is giving the guy and to be in truth and honest with the whole deal. So, all right, quick. So let's go ahead and talk. Let's break this game. Let's break this NBA Finals down. So what do you see? How are you calling this whole deal? How many games? What you seeing?
I think LeBron and the Cavs are about to shock the world. I think they win the series in 6. It's not going to be easy by no stretch of the imagination. I think LeBron and his teammates will go in and get game 1. I really do. It's just my opinion. And I'll say this: since 2012, when the Alabama Crimson Tide win the National Football Championship in college football, LeBron James has won an NBA Finals. And so I'm just going with that this year. And I think LeBron is going to pull a rabbit out of his hat, and he's going to lead this team to a championship.
But you know what? That's why you're on the show, and everybody else wants to think about having the show. Hey, folks, you know what? This is Coach Goins and Coach Quick, and you're listening to Basketball More Than the Game, brought to you by our title sponsor, and that's none other than Mr. Curtis Jackson. So listen, for your insurance needs, Curtis is serving the great state of North Carolina and also Southern Virginia. He's been our title sponsor since we've been on the show. Actually, this is our 61st episode, and we thank you. And I just read off that we're in 20 international countries. We just went into Russia about 2 weeks ago. We just had somebody live on from Haiti, a good friend of mine down in Haiti, and we're only got quick, we only missing 2 states, brother. We're missing Montana, and we're missing Vermont. So if anybody knows anybody in Montana and Vermont, hey, tell them to check out the podcast Basketball More Than the Game, because it is more than the game. It has allowed me to go around the world. It has allowed me to meet some of the greatest people that I've ever met in my life. It's allowed me to coach great players such as Coach Quick that's on the show today. It's just allowed me to do a lot of things, and it was introduced to me by a great coach, and that's all I've ever tried to do, is to be able to give back, because somebody along the way stopped and they tried to hook the brother up. So that is what it's all about. So listen, you know what, as Quick just eloquently put it, he believes in the 6th game. And you know what, here's the deal. Yeah, they got to do 2 in Golden State. And they've got to be able to, and you know what, and I'm going to say this right here: if they can steal 1 in Golden State, they do have a chance. And somebody says, what? Because here's the thing, and if I was coaching them, this is what I would tell them: I can't have them 3 guys. I can't have 3 guys get off. I just can't do it. You can't have 2 of them scoring almost 30 and somebody else giving you 12. I've got to So we got to pick our poison. So if we're worried about Curry, then guess what we got to do? We got to lock down everybody else. And that's just my opinion. So if I'm coaching, I'm going to take a kid and I'm going to put him up underneath what? I'm going to put him up underneath Kevin Durant, and I'm going to find somebody and say, okay, you see Klay Thompson? Yeah, okay, you know what I want you to do? He moves, I want you to move. And then you know what? Then Curry, because Curry's not going to shoot the ball, lights out for 6 games. He's going to have a bad game. So when he's having a bad game, I got to make sure that we're dialed in. So that's our take. That's our folks. And again, I'm going to roll with LeBron because I'm not a big fan of Golden State. And somebody says, well, you got to, you're not being realist. It's not about being a realist. I just don't like what Kevin Durant did. And people can say what they want to say, but I'm just not a big fan of you being on the squad and you're down, 3-1. They come back, they beat you, and then now you're going to go join them. You know what? And that's his opinion. That's what he wants to do. I was never a big fan when he was in Oklahoma, solely by, when he was with Westbrook. If you want to impress me, guess what? Go do it by yourself. He's not a LeBron. Somebody said he's a franchise guy. No, I don't think he is. He's a shooter, but can he carry a team for 82 games? I don't think he can. And somebody said, "What? Okay, what did they do in Oakland? What did they do when people failed to realize that you had Harden, you had Westbrook, and you had Durant all on the same team,
and Jeff Green coming off the bench,
and they were young, dumb, and everybody wanted to be the man. Nobody wanted to understand and take a step back and realize that, you know what, I've got to do what? I've got to be able to step back and realize that, you know what, I can't do it by myself, and that's so true. So listen, go ahead and give me the Finals MVP.
LeBron James.
All right, so that was pretty quick. Now, did you hear what they were talking? They were talking about, possibly looking at could there be a playoff MVP. Which I think that why wouldn't you? Why would you not award somebody that does a great job in order to get their team to the finals? Think about it. You've got what? You got LeBron James and the Cavs in the finals, and then and correct me if I'm wrong, they were number 4 seed.
Yes, sir.
But now they're in the finals. So somebody somewhere had to do a body of work to go from a 4 seed to be sitting in the NBA finals. And of course, if it's LeBron, give it LeBron. If it's somebody else that steps up and balls, give it to him. But I think the league really needs to take a hard look at that. I heard that last night on one of the shows. I think it would be an awesome deal if they did what? Turn around, lock them in, and say what? Hey, here's an NBA game. Or excuse me, here's the playoffs. So you have a playoff MVP, then you have a finals MVP, then you have regular season MVP. So that's my dime, our show. So we can call it like we want to call it. So hey, listen, let me drop another commercial in here because it's all about paying the bills. So listen, if you want your child to be in a very, very good sports program, Coach Goins is going to call out Act Sports, which is available where it is in. Bottom line, it's in Stanton, Virginia. You can check them out at playactsports.com. They're just open. Registration is open currently for track and field and first off the bat, first year they're going into wrestling. They've got basketball, rec basketball. They have travel basketball. They have volleyball. They have travel volleyball. They have soccer, flag football. So they continue to grow. I've been working with this organization now for almost 7 years. Tremendous job. I handle the basketball section part of it. I guess you think I was did the horseshoes, but Coach Goins tries to anchor down the rec basketball. Really enjoy that. Really try to work with the little kids and just try to get them interested in the game. So you can also check us out on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, my YouTube channel, Coach Goins. You can go to the website, Coach Goins at podbean.com. Leave us a comment. Facebook, Lionfish Entertainment out of Los Angeles, California. Somebody says, man, you guys are spanning the globe. We are trying to do all we can do. That's baby to give an avenue for these young kids so they don't have to stick up a whole lot of money in their pocket. They can go right to and check us out and get some free advice. We got great people on, very talented people, just like Coach Quick and our guests that's been on the show to be able to give a platform for the youth. So the only thing they got to do is stick their hand on the computer, go to Facebook, pull it up just like we do live shows. All of that is so important because number one thing we want to be able to do is get the word out and just enjoy what we're doing. So, Coach Quick, what else you got for us on the NBA front?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, just, picking back off a little something that you said about Kevin Durant. I mean, LeBron went and joined the Miami Heat in 2010. Hey, granted, he got a lot of negative publicity from the announcement.
Yep.
But Kevin Durant went and joined a team that won 73 games. They went 73-9. He joined a team that he was up 3-1 on. He did not show up for Game 6 when they were up 3-1. Had he showed up for Game 6, Golden State would not have made the finals that year. But you leave Westbrook to go join them.
Yep.
So I question it too. You're a killer. You're a killer. You're a scorer, but you're not LeBron James. I don't care what none of the fans say, whatever. LeBron James is the best basketball player pound for pound on planet Earth today.
You know what? And that's exactly. And here's the thing. When people struggle to give a person credit, and my thing is, okay, you're 34, okay, go out there and do what he does. And one of the things right before I got on right before we crunk up the show today, one of my good friends, and he called and said, man, guess what? He says, I heard Isaiah Thomas, call this out. What pedigree coaches LeBron James has ever played for? Michael Jordan had Dean Smith. You had great, you got guys that played for Mike Krzyzewski. You had guys played for this coach. LeBron James played for who? Name LeBron James high school coach. Name LeBron James's AAU coach. Who was LeBron James college coach? He didn't go to college. He went straight into the NBA. First player put, and so when you put his whole body of work, LeBron James, and then since he's been in the NBA, who has been his stellar? Has he ever played for? Phil Jackson, who some people think he's a great coach. I mean, he's only coached the four of the greatest players ever. So I'm really not going down that road. Did he play for Popovich? Has he jumped out and played for other people? No, he's played for subpar coaches in the NBA. So how did so that's that here's my diamond. That's the finger of God touching this young man and allowing him to be able to be a player at that level and not having that pedigree of a coach. He didn't play for, you look at Chuck Daly, he didn't play for Pat Riley, he hadn't played for all of these all-star coaches. He played for Tyronn Lue, right? He's played for, a couple guys over here, Eric Sepultura in Miami, right? He was a film guy. Mike Brown, right?
And I think Paul Silas was his first coach.
Okay, so right there, right? So, okay, here we go right there. So you line all these coaches out, and LeBron James has played for who? As a pedigree coach to really learn the game of basketball. So where did LeBron learn that? And he didn't go to college. So a lot of that, and again, that's not Coach Goins. I'm just kind of paraphrasing from Isaiah Thomas and who's calling out. And of course, Stephen A. Smith was saying that, hey man, you're not getting. Well, bottom line to it is this, man. When you look and you try to stack the deck, and that's why when people start saying, who's better than this, to me in my lifetime, if I say the three most impactful players ever, you got to say Michael. Not in this order, but I'm just gonna toss it out there. And just, due to age, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and LeBron James. I mean, they're the three best that I've ever seen play. And then you can throw, the doctor, and you can throw guys in like that and all that other stuff. But pound for pound, when you see the things, I see Michael Jordan make a few blocks, but I never seen him make blocks like LeBron James does. I don't see him. Did Michael win some closeout games? Yes, I've seen him, do it, but not consistently doing it the way he's done. Michael was very strategic. Phil Jackson knew he had somebody, but Phil Jackson also knew, guess what? I'm not playing and I'm not coaching unless I got some talent. Michael had Scotty, and when you look out, I've never been a Kevin Love fan, and I never will be. He's a big he's out of position. And be honest with you, if he was 6'5", he couldn't spell NBA. He's just out there because he's a big guy, and he can't find his way. Christian Thompson is Christian Thompson. Larry Nance is. You look at these guys that are not used to. You look at these guys when they get to basketball versus Capella for Houston. They're putting him in ball screens, and he's rolling. They're looking for law. These guys don't play that way because they're not on that level. So LeBron has to do a lot of things. He makes a lot of guys, better. Then somebody had a side comment and said, well, they wouldn't want to play with LeBron. Okay, then guess what? That's your choice. You don't want to play with him. If I had an opportunity to play with the best, I would want to play with the best. Just hands down. So listen, I appreciate you doing your homework and bringing it to us. So Coach Quick is getting out here, and tomorrow night it'll be game one. So we're going to go out and get in front of game one, and we're going to make that prediction that it's going to go a 6-game series, and we are going to believe the 6-game series will exactly happen. And so we are going to be excited, and you know what? I'm not going to not roll with my main man. So Coach Quick, I'm going to roll with you, and we just hope everything works out well. We hope it's a great series. We hope we get that competitive edge, and which we know we will be. And number one thing is we just want it to be the best, because when this is over with, basketball is over with until it's October time. So hey, listen, want to give a shout out to a good friend of mine. I just seen her just kick on. That's Miss Chris Cameron Fredericks from the great hometown of Southern Pines, Pinehurst, North Carolina. So, Chris, we say hello and wish you and your family well. So, listen, we're going to slide on into the second segment of the podcast, and it's called In the Paint. In this segment, Coach Quick is going to, again, this came from one of our listening audiences, and in that process, Coach Quick is doing his due diligence. When people, they'll email us, they'll send us, ask us different stuff when we're not on the air. And Coach Quick has some of the topic that we're going to entertain. So I'm going to toss it over to Coach Quick.
Yes, one of our fans had asked us to discuss the new ruling in the NFL where all the owners voted unanimous to make each individual player stand for the national anthem, or they have the right to stay back in the locker room until the anthem is over. And I just wanted to touch on that just a little bit. I'm not really a fan of the ruling because I feel like you're violating these guys' constitutional rights. And I'll say this, me personally, from a personal standpoint, I would stand for the national anthem. That's just me. And all this came about. It wasn't about the flag. It wasn't about disrespecting the flag of the United States of America, in my opinion. But this is just one man's opinion. I don't think it was about that at all. It was about bringing some awareness to what was going on in America today with police brutality against African Americans. And I think Colin Kaepernick, he could have went a different way. He didn't have to actually just start kneeling for the flag, but at the same time, it was his constitutional right to do that. He felt like this was going to bring more awareness than anything would, but really it's brought about a totally different vibe, in my opinion.
But you know what? First of all, I appreciate you bringing that to the forefront, and I want to thank. And we're going to leave the fan, and we're going to leave them anonymous because we know again we're not here to call anybody out. But the bottom line is this, folks. We want you to understand. If you want to call in, you want to give us a shout, you want to ask, toss a question out. We're going to do that. We actually don't have the phone line open today, but the next time we do it, we will. But I want to appreciate Coach Quick for bringing that to the forefront. You're exactly right. Here's the deal. Everybody has to, as my grandmother used to say all the time, every tub has to sit on its own bottom. Me personally, I'm going to stand for the flag because you know what? It's not because I don't believe that these guys shouldn't stand. Or you know what? Here's the thing: if you want to stand for the national anthem, you stand. If you don't want to stand, that's your business. You got to answer for that. And then now when these guys get out and say, well, owner says, well, if you don't want to come out, okay, so now guys, what guys are going to do? They're not going to come out of the locker room. So if you don't want to come out of the locker room, don't come out of the locker room. But bottom line, if that's what you want to do, you do that. I had a gentleman ask me not long ago, say, Lamont, and I've known him for over 14 years. He said, you're a black man and you're a veteran. I said, both of those are correct. He says, how do you feel? I said, listen, you know what? It doesn't. If a person wants to stand, let them stand. If a person doesn't want to stand, okay, you know what? The sun's going to come up. The Jet Centerfold is going to be on page 43. Lamont Goins has other things to worry about besides Billy, Sam, and Sue saying what? Well, I believe they should stand up. Okay, you know what? And here's the thing, and you eloquently put this, Coach. Colin Kaepernick has put his money where his mouth is. He's not only has he knelt, he's given away millions of dollars to the cause. So in that process, and guess what? And it's taken his livelihood away because he continues to kneel. Now, if he was out there and just saying, oh man, wait a minute now, this is going to affect my pocketbook, man, let me stand up. Matter of fact, I'm going to be standing up. I'm going to be saluting if they talk about taking my livelihood away. There's not a lot of people that listen to this show that would be willing enough to go out here and stand or make a stance for a sacrifice, and you're losing your livelihood. You're taking your paycheck away. This guy, a couple years ago, he played in the Super Bowl. He was a starting quarterback in the Super Bowl, one of the biggest stages that you could be. He made a stance, and just like Coach Quick said, they put the spin on it. They put the okie doke on it. They want you to believe what they want you to believe. But bottom line to it is, he's making a stance. Now, here's the thing that I've been taking a look in reference to when Tim Tebow took a knee. Tim Tebow took a knee because he wasn't feeling that the whole abortion deal wasn't getting the right look. So, I'm not going to get into that. That's a whole different other conversation, but that's what we have to look at. So why is it okay for him to take a knee and the league didn't go, but now because a lot of other players are taking a knee, and then of course our president, he jumps on and he says, what he says, that you should fire the SOBs. I'm just like, okay, you know what? Here's the thing. If somebody, bottom line, are you going to play the national anthem? Yeah. Is everybody in the stands standing? No. Okay.
Great question.
All right. Are the NFL players the only people that have never ever stood for national anthem? No. Okay. Think about the veterans when they came back from Vietnam. How were they treated? Now here they fight in the war and they come home. And how were they treated back in the Vietnam era? It was, as a matter of fact, I've been watching this show on CNN it's called 1968, and it was just showing what these men and women were dealing with when they came back from combat. It's a black eye on America. It's a black eye that we treated our veterans that way, and now you get guys that want to make a stand or make a statement. So guess what? Make a statement, and in that, if that's what you want to do and you want to make a statement, that that way, that's your right as a human being to make a statement. Now, you're going to mandate me to do what? You're going to mandate me to, well, you got to stand or it's a fine. Some owners said, okay, they don't want to stand. Guess what we're going to do? We're going to pay their fine. Or I don't want to come out of the locker room. So just like you say, some people will say, well, they should stand up and they shouldn't stand up. Okay, you know what? If a coach or if an owner says, you know what, if my guys won't stand, they won't play for me. Okay, then guess what? Then you better go find somebody else because everybody's not going to stand. Here's my thing. Turn the page. Let's move on. It's a sporting event. You're going to play the national anthem. You either play the national anthem and you move on, okay? You don't turn around and go, well, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this and I'm going – I mean, bottom line to it is, where do we end up and how do we end up in this whole tizzy? And then my thing is this, somebody bring the man back on television, somebody sit down and interview him, and I'm talking about Kaepernick and say, okay, let's go back to square one. Let's talk about what this all came about. Let's talk about the moment in time and why you decided to take a stand and kneel during the national anthem. Take everything else off the plate. And this is what he's doing. And the only thing is as it continues to evolve, you've got more people that's joining what? There's more people that's coming online that say, you know what, I'm going to do it. I'm going to take a knee. So listen, hopefully, we were able to. Anything else, Coach, on that you want to bring out?
I've gotten some friends who are willing to just boycott the NFL season again. I had a plan to do it last season, and he actually has me considering doing it. And just because this rule has been put in place, I don't know for sure yet if that's what I'm going to do, but I'm definitely contemplating it. And I've got a couple of other friends who are saying that they're not going to watch the NFL this year or buy the direct ticket. So we'll see what happens.
You know what? Hey, here's the thing, man. You know what? Here's my deal, right? I'm going to watch the NFL because I'm a Steeler fan, right? And just like if you want to stay in the locker room and not stand up, you stand in the locker room, tie your cleats, drink another shot of Gatorade, do whatever that makes your boat float. But here's the bottom line to this. We've got to be able to, and that's the problem. We get hung up. We worried about if somebody's standing for the national anthem and we're getting backdoored by everything else. I remember back, years ago when they had a slogan. Now I think it was Nancy Reagan, and I'm not calling her out. I'm just talking about the slogan. They had a slogan that said, just say no. All right, say no to what? Just say no to drugs, but then guess what? Then we got backdoored by everything else. You know what I mean? So we end up losing our focus because now I'm getting caught up on, oh man, I got 7 guys not standing. Okay, what about the 45 other people that are standing? You know what I mean? Now you want, and that, anything negative is going to sell newspapers. And I'm sorry. That's just how it is. Somebody's got to take the high road in any of these talk shows. You know what? Somebody's got to like LeBron. Somebody not going to like LeBron. Somebody's going to like, Steph Curry. Somebody's not going to like Steph Curry. So, it's all in the mix, and that's what we do here on the show. We get on here to be real. Some people want to boycott the NFL. Great, boycott the NFL, and you know what? That's everybody's got their position. Everybody needs to be do what, right? And that's cool, and there ain't nothing wrong with that, right? But for me, when I go down my basement, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna kick my recliner back and all my Steelers stuff on the wall. I'm gonna watch my boys run up down. Hope we can get that number 7 Lombardi trophy. And if we don't, and the guy, and we went through that as an organization with the Steelers. Guys were like, well, how come Villanueva came out and saluted? Because he's a veteran. He did 2 tours, and if that's what he wants to do, fine. Then guess what? Go out and do what? Stand there and for the national anthem, just like you said, quick. I would. How many times did you and I stand for the national anthem when I coached you? Every single time. Matter of fact, who used to sing the national anthem when you played basketball? Who sang it?
I tried to.
Okay, so there you go, folks. So we ain't talking about something we knew. Coach Quick, he used to sing the national anthem when we're in the gym at our home basketball games. Why? Because Mr. Salmon, the head coach, said, Quick, you singing the national anthem because he liked the way he did it. So we stood then and we're going to stand now. But it doesn't make him a bad guy, or it doesn't make me not a believer, and it doesn't make me not believe in what he stands for. I choose to stand. He choose to kneel. Guess what? Just like I said earlier, the sun's going to come up and the Jet Centerfold is going to be on page 43. So listen, you have been listening to Coach Goins and Coach Quick, 2 guys that just, try to get out here and just create a platform for the young folks to be able to dial in, listen to us. And as we continue to expand and continue to reach these different countries and across the United States, we can't thank you enough for your support, your sponsorship. And the only thing we ask is, just tell somebody about us. We don't do a lot of live shows, but we're doing one today. Coach Quick and I try to get on at least once a month. And again, just to kind of hit it up and see what's flowing down his pipe and seeing what's flowing down mine, and just to be able to, number one, to share our thoughts and share our things flowing together. Hey, you know what? There's somebody I do want to give a shout out to that's just doing a heck of a job, and you may know where I'm going with this. He had a young man in Las Vegas a couple weeks ago, and I was able to. Now, I wasn't in Vegas, but I was able to kind of scout that out and see what was going on. And we want to give a shout out to Coach Mike Apple. And I know Coach Quick has done this on Facebook and some other social media sites, but we want to give a shout out to Coach Mike Apple. Folks, anybody that's in the Southern Pines, Pinehurst, Moore County, surrounding areas, if you have an opportunity to go out and check out the Sand Hill Flyers basketball program, here's my challenge to you. And I'm challenging everybody that's ever listened to basketball more in the game. When you're in that area, please go out to Sand Hills Community College, go to Mike Apple and say, hey, listen, we will listen to Coach Goins on basketball more in the game. He challenged us to come out and support you because you cannot find a finer human being that does what he does with the body of work that he does. And he's won a national championship at the community college level. He's a great friend of ours, Mike, Coach Quick, and myself. And he's also been on the podcast, and we're going to have to run him down and get him back on here before too long. But I just really want to give a shout out to him for the body of work and the challenges that he's doing for the guys that's in that program. Because here's the thing, you know what, and great coaches like that sometimes don't get a shot to move to the next level. But Mike Apple is a diamond in the rough, and if you have a young man that is interested in playing basketball at the next level, again, go out, check him out, and just stop by, let him know that you heard it from us. That we send our support, we send our love just for him and his organization back there at Sand Hills Community College. So, Coach Quick, I'm going to toss it over to you for your final wrap-up, and we'll go ahead and start winding this puppy down.
Yes, I just wanted to say thank everybody for tuning in to the show and keep supporting us. Basketball more in the game. Great host, Coach Lamont Goins. Appreciate the opportunity that you give me once a month to be on the show and co-host the show. I just want to say this. Kobe Bryant tweeted out the other day, he said it best, respect MJ6, respect my 5, and respect LBJ's quest. Let's quit comparing these guys, and let's just enjoy and witness this greatness that we have the opportunity to witness right now. LeBron James has done something pretty remarkable. I don't care if you love him or hate him. This kid has really done an outstanding job his entire career, and I just got to give him props. He's my favorite player today, and I'm not ashamed to admit that. I'm rolling with him. I'm going to support him. A lot of people say to me, are you crazy? He can't beat the Warriors. What I'm supposed to say? I'm a LeBron James guy. So guess what? I'm rolling with him, win, lose, or draw. Let's get ready for these finals and witness greatness and witness as the king shocks the world.
You know what? And that's why Coach Quick is on the call. That's exactly right. And I'm going to say this. I agree with you 100%, man. What we've got to do, we've got to stop and we've got to enjoy these guys for what they are. Hey, I just see my all-star coach nephew, Mr. Jason Jones, just clicked on. We send our love to him and his dynamic family. Again, just wish him continued success. And again, when you out and again, another shout out. When you get a chance to support these Sand Hill Cyclones, you need to go check them out. You need to roll up in these car washes. Get your car washed. And you know what? And then go find a mud puddle and come back and get it washed again. Support these young men because you know what? They're not on the street corner. They're out here hooping it up on the weekend to try to make a difference. Jason is pouring himself into these young men and then molding, taking them from boys to men. So we want to give him that shout out. You're exactly right. So everybody needs to stop comparing these guys. And you know what? And just be grateful that we're growing up in the time and age that we're able to see great players as Michael, LeBron, and Kobe Bryant. And I couldn't have said it any finer than that. So listen, as we start to wind this puppy down, one thing that we always want to make sure that you understand what we're doing. Anytime you're dealing with us, you make sure you got your sneakers on, you got them laced up tight, because we're going to come out the gate, we're going to come out hard, and we want to make sure that everybody is in agreement with us And when I say in agreement with us, it's not to believe that everything that we talk about you got to agree. It's just be in agreement with us as it relates to the show, our core vision of the show, and what we try to do, and that's to give back to make a difference. Because if Coach Goins can do it, and I can get one of my former players, Coach Quick, on here, and when I'm, when I time to pass the mic, we want to be able to have somebody come in right behind us, pick this thing up, and continue to rock and roll. Because you know what, the best is yet to come. We're so excited, and as we get ready to get into these NBA Finals, we're just going to ask everybody just to sit back, enjoy. Coach Quick, we want to send the best to you and your wife, and always just thank you for your time and efforts to jump in via telephone as I'm here in VA and he's there in North Carolina. We're making this thing pop for our continued supporters, and that's Mr. Curtis Jackson as well as Act Sports. We thank you for your time, your effort, and we always leave one of my favorite scripture, John 14:6. I am the way, the truth, and the light. So until next time, this is Coach Goins along with Coach Quick, and we'll see you in the gym. All right, I just clicked off right there.